Oh, we have firefighters working 3 and 4 tours in a row, 48 hours, just for the citizens of the city of New York. We took an oath. We're keeping that oath. We were told we have 9 days to make a choice. Make this choice or your career is in jeopardy. Do as you're told, your career is in jeopardy. 2 weeks ago, the test and vax plan was acceptable. And right now it is no longer acceptable because the numbers aren't telling the story he wants to tell. We're not sick. 70% of us have been sick and have natural immunity. Over 70% of New York City firefighters and officers are vaccinated. Our numbers tell a story. The CDC recently said if you have an infection, you can wait 90 days to get your vaccine. The mayor is saying, get it immediately. The department is saying, get it immediately. Where's the science? When the mayor said you can't go to a restaurant unless you're vaccinated, unless you get a vaccine, your first shot before you walk in the door. Is that science? No! Absolutely not. So I've been saying that on November 1st, there's going to be a crisis in this city. If 30 to 40% of New York City firefighters are sent home, we will have to close houses. This is going to be a manufactured crisis. 30 to 40% of the police department will be sent home. EMS members, a quarter of them to a third of them will be sent home. Sanitation workers will be sent home. First responders and emergency workers in the city, we provide a service that complements each other. So when there's a car accident and you're waiting for us to get there to cut you out of that car, there won't be enough of us to go around. There won't be enough police there to block off traffic. Ambulances will be stuck in traffic. We'll be stuck in traffic. This whole thing is going to collapse, and it's manufactured. Yes. There is absolutely no reason for this hard deadline. The city should negotiate with its workers. They should have respect for the workers that got them through this. I remember a few months ago there was a parade held in appreciation by the mayor because this was over and we could have a parade. And then within days of that happening, the mandate started. He sure as hell wouldn't have announced the mandate before the parade. It wouldn't have happened. No one would have showed up. And we didn't show up because we believed this was going to happen. So let me tell you what goes on in New York City, in the New York City Fire Department, the responses. In my hand is the New York City's mayor management report. This is the statistics on what goes on here. Every day, there's 65 heart attacks. Last year, there was 24,000 fires a day, 65 a day. Average response time is 4.5 minutes. What's going to happen when that response time goes up? People are going to die. They're going to be waiting for us to get there. When there aren't enough fire trucks to go around to the fires, 65 a day. On the next page of the mayor's management report, we have life-threatening medical emergencies. Last year, there was 515,000 medical emergencies. 1,400 medical emergencies every single day. And those people will be waiting longer due to a manufactured crisis. Heart attacks, 80 a day. Last year there was almost 30,000 heart attacks. Did you know the survivability for a heart attack in New York City? Heart attack in New York City is 32%. 32%. The average response time is somewhere between 6 and 9 minutes, depending on which metric you use. They like to play with the numbers, and they have an end-to-end response time that is over 8 minutes is the average. Over 8 minutes. When those numbers get pushed at 10, 12, 15 minutes, there'll be no survivability. If you don't get, you go on the American Heart Association website, every minute it takes longer for someone to provide CPR is an 8% increase in the likelihood of death. 80 heart attacks a day. This will be a death sentence to some people. Why are we doing this? November 1st, New York City firefighters will be at their firehouses. If the mayor and the commissioner sends them home, this will be on them. The 65 fires a day, the 1,400 life-threatening medical emergencies a day, and the 80 heart attacks a day. It will be on them. Hold the line. Your rights are more important than their mandates. Hold the line. We are the bravest. everyone calls us the bravest. What they call them on November 1st, you don't want to hear it. It'll all be on them. We know what they're going to call them on November 1st, when people die because of the decisions they made to force a mandate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Evan. I'd now like to call up IAFF First District Vice President James Levin.
Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for being out here today, holding the line for what we believe in, fighting for our rights and protecting essential workers and the public out there in New York City. I want to also give a shout out of thanks to the people beyond the barricades, the NYPD. I see the sanitation in the distance. At the height of this pandemic, the only people out on the streets protecting this city were the essential workers of the firefighters, the police officers, sanitation. We were there for New York City. And now, Mayor de Blasio wants to turn his back on essential workers. This is simply unfair, and a mayor that wants to call himself a friend of labor. I'm always very weary of anybody that likes to start out to saying, you know, I'm a friend of labor. Well, you know what? Actions speak louder than words. If you're a friend of labor, then come to the table, sit down, and negotiate a fair policy with all of these unions. Don't turn your back on us as you're going out the door. Let's treat our members fairly and stand up for what is right. The essential workers of this city kept it going through the height of the pandemic, and they're going to keep it going in the future. New York City wouldn't be such a great city if we weren't such great workers. So thank you. Now, I want to turn over the microphone to somebody that has been fighting for us from day one. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not on the phone with this man, telling him everything that's going on in New York, telling him everything that's going on throughout the IFF First District. He is there for us 100%, and he's come right from the back step of Ladder 17 in Boston. Now, our General President, International Association of Firefighters General President, Ed Kelly.
Thank you, Jimmy. And I want to make something abundantly clear. The New York City firefighters take COVID seriously. And at the height of this pandemic, when we didn't know what this virus could do to us, or if we were bringing home to our children, or bringing home to our families, the New York City firefighters answered every single call the same way they always have for hundreds of years. Put the lives of the citizens of New York first. All they're asking for today is to be treated with dignity and respect. I've spoken with the U.S. Secretary of Labor, Martin Walsh, who was very clear. This